want to do a video about responding to, oh, what's her name again? Sacha Sloane, and she's good, but pardon me, I've had these fucking interactions with people. I'm just, oh, the light's working again. When did that happen?
What light?
That light.
I turned it on.
Yeah, but it had been broken for ages. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So this is another kind of trying to kickstart this sort of broken part of my head. It's a two-step process. She says it's a two-step process to figure out a narcissist. And really the only process is you look in the mirror, you accept that you yourself have narcissistic traits. That's step one, actually. And you realise that you are as much a narcissist as everybody else, because everybody wants to have that little bit of adoration. And when we don't get it, it makes us feel bad. Okay. It's how we cope with that that separates us, genuinely separates us. And it's not how we react, it's how we cope. It's how we actually cope with the situation, not how we react, because we react badly. Remember, we're just monkeys. We are just monkeys. That's it. We're not beyond being able to be manipulated, and this is the core of narcissism, is people's manipulations of you. What do you do when you find yourself being manipulated? How do you cope with that? Not and obviously, as she was going through it, my sort of defences were sort of going, she's sort of saying things, and I'm reflecting on them, and I'm like, I do those things as well, you know, and there's all of these different sort of narcissistic traits and stuff like that. But primarily what she says is, if you find yourself in a situation, and you're sitting there minding your own business, the narcissist will be the one to instigate it, and that's not always true. That is not always true. In fact, a narcissist will be way smarter than that. See, the thing is that you'll find, so for example, a good example is that this particular guy had been spreading, she gets things right, they spread gossip and do things like this, but what they'll do is they'll make you move. They'll make it seem like you're the one that's interacting. So they will be the one that's sitting there. They'll be the one. See, what they're waiting is for you to make that initial move. A good example of it is how the police work. Okay? As soon as the police officer is standing in front of you, that's it. Okay? And what they'll do is they will push you, and you have to absolutely be, do exactly what they say. And they are going to try and trip you up. They are looking for a reason to try and fuck you up, basically. You've got to stop thinking. I mean, it's so difficult, because basically we don't live in a black and white world. We live in a world that is not got any genuine real black and white laws. Actually, anybody who believes in anything that's black and white, that is when you really truly know that you're working with a narcissist, because narcissists work with absolutes, and they like to believe that they have the absolute truth about something. It's why they have the sense of superiority. And it's easier to think about it in an interaction with a police officer. Now, the other day, I'm going to talk about the story about this guy. It was in the news, and I think one of the YouTubers, I think Philip DeFranco, he did the story on it. And it was a guy, he had been arrested. What happened was the police officer in charge was completely incompetent, and he was a narcissist. Because what happened was he had a gun on him, he had backup, he had a semi-automatic rifle on him, and the guy was kneeling on the floor, and he was shouting instructions. But what he was doing was he was not actually shouting instructions. What he was doing is trying to confuse the guy into making a mistake. See, he wasn't trying to make sure that the guy wasn't going to make any mistakes. He was trying to trick the guy into making a mistake, and he eventually ended up shooting and killing the man dead. Because of the instructions that he did. Just made the man just go completely and he didn't know what he was doing. And that's what a narcissist will do. They will be in the position of power, and they will manipulate you into doing something that you don't want to do. And it doesn't matter if you do everything right, because they will still find a way. So, for example, you'll see a lot of people thinking that they know their rights and that they know their laws, but they don't, because you don't actually genuinely have any rights when people come to your door exerting their power and control over you. You just don't. What you have is, you have the hope that in that situation there's going to be people, witnesses, to see that what's happening is not just disingenuous, but like completely against all decency. And a policeman can come to your door. You say you can't come in without a warrant. No. Especially in England, especially in places like America and in other Western countries. No. We just need to get our foot in the door. In fact, if you don't open the door, we'll say that you're obstructing justice. And they even put their hands on the door and push it a little bit. And if you push back, that's resisting. So you're not allowed to resist. You're not allowed to resist, and they are allowed to push. And the more they push, the more that they can just say that you are resisting. And they will keep pushing until eventually until you make a mistake. Now, she got everything else right in the video, and it's the pathological stuff that she's got. This is the thing. Now, I'm making this channel about me, my journey and my experience, and I know I'm never going to be able to clear my name of all of the mud that's been shit and mud that's been thrown on it, because I have been the victim of narcissistic abuse my whole life, and the image that's been painted out of me is that I am this evil person, and that essentially everything I do is turned around against me. And here's the worst thing about narcissism is they're parasites, really. What they do is, I always like to think of it like you got two clones. You got good clone, bad clone, right? How do you know which is the good clone and which is the bad clone? Who's the good guy, who's the bad guy? Now, in that situation, in films when they've done it, like I'm the good guy, tell me something that only the true you would know, the good you. Tell me something only the good you would know. But the narcissist will have a way of being able to just turn things around and trick people around you, especially if you're inside their den. Essentially, if you're inside their sphere of influence, you're fucked, because they decide what is being told. So it's very much like we saw this actually. We saw this in the Donald Trump election, where one of the social justice people was shouting, "Not my president," and a group of the conservatives that were wearing, the pro-Trump, got into what they call a turkey circle, and the turkey circle did the thing. What they do is, turkeys have this very strange habit of creating a circle of multiple turkeys, and they walk around dead animals, usually like other turkeys, right? But sometimes like there's videos of turkey circles. Just YouTube it, turkey circles, dead cat, and you can see the turkeys walking around this dead cat in a circle. And in this particular instance, these group of people walking in a circle around a dead social justice warrior. She wasn't dead, but she may as well have been, because she was saying, "He's not my president. I don't accept him as my president." And they were all walking around going, "He is your president. He is your president. He is your president." And they have a way of browbeating. And when you're in the centre of that, there's no way of getting out. If everyone in that circle agrees one thing, they hate you. And the narcissist will be the one behind the pulling the strings. Yeah? So it's a very real world explanation if you need it. What she's doing is what I take exception with Sacha is not that she doesn't have this ability to be able to critically analyze stuff, because she does. It's that she doesn't have the ability to be able to distinguish between like bad behavior because of mental health being a thing, and it being an actual what she said is pathological, that it's a pathological like illness, psychological pathological illness. I have, for example, and I'm using myself in this example because I can only speak for myself, and I think this is another thing. Narcissists always try to speak for somebody else. They always do. They never speak for themselves. They always suppose that they can speak for other people, and they always suppose that they know the other people better than they know themselves. And this is also really disingenuous, because you absolutely cannot talk about someone's life experience unless you've actually lived in their shoes. And I don't just... If you really do consider yourself an empath and you genuinely cannot put yourself in other people's shoes to actually realise what's going on in their life, you're not really an empath. But then not everybody has such strong empathy. Not everybody can do that. In fact, my mum used to say to me, "You feel things too much." Someone will do something and then you'll start crying about it. You'll feel it, and you don't need to take on that emotion. That's the truth. What you need to do is you need to learn to not take on that emotion. That's the thing. That's the curse of being an empath. That's the curse of empathy, is without wanting to, without desire to, you naturally just take on the burdens of other people. You just naturally feel what other people are feeling, and it hurts you if it hurts yourself, because you can feel what they're going through, and you want it to stop. You want their pain to stop so your pain will stop. It's very selfish, and being selfish is good sometimes. And what I disagree about with her is she says it's pathological. Patterning, right, is another really bad practice. Patterning doesn't actually help. What patterning does is it gets people stuck in someone else's view. And again, it's this turkey circle. If they created this turkey circle around this poor little person who was just wanting to express her opinion, and they completely berated and destroyed that person, and in the end she's reduced to these kinds of feral sounds, just going because her intellectualism cannot outmatch a group, a hive mind of people all browbeating her down. Eventually your best points are going to be whittled down to nothing, so it doesn't matter. And that's sad. And it's taking patterns, is taking dots and building up a pattern, and it creates a false image. And I know she says it's maybe not the core person, like may not be the core value of a person. But the thing with patterning is, if you put that pattern over anybody, what it does is it reduces anybody's core down to very diminished capacity. And that's another thing that narcissists do. They want to diminish your light, they want to diminish you. In fact, they want to destroy you. They don't want to just hurt you, they want to destroy you completely. They don't want to really help in any way. And when you create, for example, me, I'm a very good example of patterning being bad example. Every time I've done anything wrong in my life, it's been a dot in my life, and then it's joining the dots and going, you're this, we've diagnosed you now. And the problem is you haven't, is that every single person is individual, and that is there's a literal reality. And a pathological like a real genuine narcissist, a real genuine psychopath, and a real genuine sociopath, they don't have those kinds of patterns. Like, you really just won't be able to distinguish it. Okay, if you're capable of it, and you are able to just step out of yourself and just view not just yourself but somebody else, and the person that you're viewing and the person that you're interacting with, okay, and take a step back out of that situation and just ask, is it possible that the person that I am actually trying to figure out isn't just one of the narcissist's victims? And that's kind of where I've been. See, because like I grew up in I'm one of these people that never got out of my my hood, my life. I never got out of the town that I lived, basically. I escaped, but I mean, how badly they ruined my life and my reputation, and how badly they pursue me, meant I could never break free. So I was never able to sort of break free from the kind of toxicity that my family had sort of built up around me. And my family was so desperate for me to fail that they absolutely made sure that I couldn't succeed, no matter what I tried. And they one of the things, again, as well, is with narcissists is you've got to think about this, your own narcissist. Your inner narcissist is there, You can't hide it from me. Everybody has an inner narcissist. It's just, everybody can be a little bit empathic and everybody can be a little bit narcissistic, and it can be healthy sometimes. For example, I mean, you just have to say to yourself, would you take delight and enjoy the suffering of somebody else and destroying their life? And a narcissist does. They kind of live for it. In fact, that's all they live for, is destroying other people's lives. For example, I suppose we could take the whole girlfriend boyfriend thing, the social group thing, asking your first, or you're asking your first, or you're just a crush, or we could take any example basically, but mainly it's just that they want to give you a kick in the face or kick in the teeth, or they want to hurt you. And sorry, I'm trying to pull up a message, and the thing about it is sometimes it's good to be able to pull those kinds of absolutes. And I think a lot of people who suffer from abuse in their life, like what I've come to realize as well, is a lot of people who are coming from relationships, marriages, friendships and stuff like that. And from my perspective, I've been the victim of like so much abuse from so many people that it's my battery's run out of battery. It's not one, it's a group, and the problem is by the time you realize it's too late. So these are why I'm making these videos, and I tried to reach out to a few people, and I just fucking just went mental. I just always go mental. I cannot cope with people. But I mean, what we can do, what we have to do, is I'd like people to not be shit, but they are, and it's difficult to. It's easy. Remember, narcissists, the way that they make a choice. It's not like brain damage, for example. They don't have brain damage. They do have brain damage, but I've never met a narcissist with brain damage, is what I'm saying. That's why you know that the malevolence behind them, the absolute hatred that they have behind what they do, doesn't come from a place where the person has been injured, genuinely got brain damage, genuinely got something wrong with their head. This is a fully healthy brain that decides, this is the action I want to take. This is the action I'm going to take. Now, that can be really, really good, especially when you're practicing your powers of manifestation in yourself. Setting your intentions is so important. And if you're healing, and if you're an empath, you know how difficult it is to actually set goals after you've been a victim of a narcissistic attack. But you set your intentions, and you're like, today I'm going to get out of bed. Those are the goals, right? Today I'm going to get off the sofa. I haven't managed yet, but today I'm going to do it. And you're going to achieve that goal. You set your intention, and then you achieve it, and then you achieve it, and you're like, great. A narcissist will do that, and with a fully functioning brain decide, this is the action I'm going to take. I am going to hurt this person. I'm going to make a decision, and I'm going to hurt them, and I'm not going to feel any emotion about it either. And that's not, I don't know the term pathological, the way that she uses it, but the way that I kind of use it is, my mind, my head, my brain, how it's been damaged. I've got so much brain damage on the left hand side of my brain that it's created a path of logic in my head that's a bit fucked up. And so when I like to think of it like a glitch in my head, in my brain, and it just doesn't work properly. And it's like someone will so for example, I tried to give examples of something that's personal to me, but I'm trying to give examples to like a worldly example, but I can't really like think of anything like a worldly example of it because it's difficult. But yeah, I mean, a glitch is fine. A glitch in a computer game or something like that. A glitch in logic. Like it's a path of logic that's not natural to my normal brain development. Essentially, I've had so much brain trauma to my brain, concussion, and recently just being a victim of another fucking attack. And what happened was, this particular guy, he had instigated this thing, and what he accused me of was wanting to, because he was not a racist, not a bigot, and he wasn't homophobic, but he accused me of wanting to have sex with his 13-year-old son just because I'm trans, just because I'm going through the process of transitioning. And he was like, got very, very like disgusting and very rude, and came right up to my face and was like, yeah, you want to fuck him, don't you? You probably want to fuck him, don't you? And I in that moment, I just lost it, and I just went completely mental, and it just hit that bit of my brain. It was just like, you have just fucking. And the thing is, because he's a narcissist, he went around sowing seeds for a very long time to make sure that when he finally did what he did, that it would make me appear that way. And it's a horrible, he knows that that's a kind of trump card to play. Also, his son's autistic, and I said, I think he might be gay. And his response was, if he was gay, I would fuck him straight with prostitutes. Not realising, whilst he's saying that to me, how disrespectful that is just to his son, but also to his to the fact that he would actually try to convince women to try to cure someone of homosexuality by having sex. And he thinks that and it's the same kind of Christian fucking conversion camps that they have all over fucking America and the world. Oh, if you fuck them enough, you can fuck them straight. And it's like, I really don't have much hope for that little boy. In fact, the fact that he's autistic is bad enough. But he's not going to have any real freedom under the yoke of that kind of upbringing. And so it's men like him that create toxic men like his son, who's growing up to become someone who likes to punch and kick his way out of situations because he can't, he's autistic, he's gonna have really confusing, conflicted feelings about sexuality and thoughts. And the thing is, he's 13, he's on the internet, he wants to be a big man, but he's not a big man, he's a little boy. And unfortunately, this is current year, and it's not going to go well for him. And he's also got a really misogynistic father, really homophobic father, and he's going to grow up becoming one of these toxic men in life. And it's not going to be his fault, but that's what's going to happen. And he's going to grow up being told, remember, always make sure it's how you look. And I see guys like that. Now, I recently was walking down the street and this guy walked past, and again, just another guy, another toxic man, and another poor fucking, and he's walking down the road, and at this point in his life he's broken, and he kind of sees me, and I'm sort of like being a bit flirty. I'm like, hi. I'm looking a little bit better than I do now as well. I'm not looking too great every day these days. I'm very ill. And he's like, hi. Flirting. And he was like, I'm in the closet. And I was like, I know you are. Fucking, it's why I kind of came out, because there's so many people in need of that kind of oomph, that push to sort of like finally find the courage to sort of do that. And I hope I did that. I don't think I did as well as I wanted to, but at least hopefully I sort of spurned some people. Maybe I inspired some people, I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve, but at least I tried my best. And it's like the third time I've come out as well, so I don't know how many fucking more times I've got to do it, but hopefully not again. But yeah, we got into a fight, and now he's spreading this rumour about me, and it's a very toxic one, and it's the kind of one that ruins lives, and it's ruined mine. And it's the kind of stigma that you can't get away from. I don't know how many people in one breath will say that they are all for this, that and the other, and then in the next breath be completely transphobic, completely nasty, and completely just out of order. Be happy, absolutely completely happy calling me a man, completely happy misgendering me, completely happy just basically really just destroying me on every level. But if I take my top off and I show my boobs, I'm not allowed to do that. You see, it doesn't make any sense, and a lot of everything that narcissists do don't make sense, because they work in absolutes, and they don't, nuance is lost on them. They hold deeply held beliefs, and they have no room for expansion in their beliefs because they can't, they're incapable of it. As opposed to, they're not incapable of it. I'm sure that everybody who has at least the ability to be able to, do basic things, have the ability to expand and grow. It's when narcissists love playing the good guy. And I sat there in the pub one day, and there was this guy, and again, a big guy, and they always look the same, bald head, big like this, sitting like this all the time, and he's having a conversation, and his response was, but he's the bad guy, and he's talking like he's the good guy, and I'm like, no mate, You're just another fucking piece of shit that's looking for an excuse to be a bad guy and get away with it. That's all. All you're doing, and all narcissists do, is that they like to commit crimes, and then they like to blame other people for the crimes, and then most importantly, they like to create scapegoats. And if you're in the unfortunate position of being a scapegoat, and we've all seen those programs where someone has been framed, and it takes Columbo to figure it out. Everybody, every single person knows what the dangers are of being the victim of a narcissist, and what being the victim of a narcissist means that your life is completely ruined. If by some chance you manage to escape, like I did, they will hunt you down, and they will try and hunt you down and destroy your life, and they will kill you if they get the chance. They will kill you. And the problem about it is that is a socially acceptable thing to do for narcissists, because they all wear the same uniform, and they all wear the same badge, and they all sit there going, the bad guy done something, I've got to do the good guy routine. They just want to be seen as the good guy. They never want their name in any way besmirched, because that's the most important thing, their self-image. See, they can't carry the weight of their own sins, so they have to transfer it onto someone else. They're incapable of being able to actually carry the weight of the responsibility for anything they do. And if they did, it would crush them. In fact, it would probably melt their brains. But, see, they're so used to somebody else paying for their crimes and somebody else paying for their life, right? That they are incapable of being able to actually be human beings. And that's why I don't disagree necessarily with her that it's incurable. I do disagree with her on that, actually. I don't disagree with that. It's a lifelong thing for them, because essentially, I like to think of it like a narcissist, a genuine narcissist. Remember, it will have a secret to hide, and the secret will be one that will ruin and destroy their lives, basically. And I like to think of it like when you were a kid and you typed in, you know, your favourite sort of like sexy thing that turns you on into Google for the first time, but you didn't want your mum to find out. And if your mum found out, it would be the worst thing ever if she found out that you typed in that thing in Google, and so you're really scared that she's going to find out. And what you do is your inner narcissist will poke his head out. And that's something that you've really got to fucking watch out for, because as soon as you do that, your inner narcissist will go, delete the history, and then you'll get away with it. You see, that's what narcissists will do. But then they evolve. Narcissists evolving is really toxic as well, because the way they evolve is they get better and better and better at covering up not just lies, but they get better at it, at covering up and blaming other people. So you see, you'll never really truly know that you're in the targets of a narcissist until it's too late. I mean, what they'll do is they'll start off with, there's porn. Oh, I'll delete the porn. I'll delete the history of the porn, right? But then they'll move on to, I'll use it to then frame other people. I'll blame it on my brother. I'll blame it on my sister. I'll blame it on the neighbour. Anybody but me. It wasn't me. It was the one-armed man. But if you're old enough to remember the man in the suitcase, yeah? It wasn't me. It was the one-armed man.
Dr. Kildare.
Dr. Kildare?
Not Dr. Kildare. Richard Chamberlain played Dr. Kildare, but he...
It was Man in a Suitcase, wasn't it?
Man in a Suitcase, no. It was...
Well, anyway, that was my Jim Carrey impression of the narcissist. It wasn't me, it was the one-armed man. And it really genuinely was the one-armed man, right? In that show, it was the one-armed man. But in real life, the narcissist, the one-armed man, is the scapegoat. That does, you know... The one-armed man is the narcissist. That's the one-armed man is the narcissist in that show. Yeah, he's blamed the guy. I'm sure it's Man in a Suitcase. Anyway, the fugitive. That's it. He didn't kill his wife. He didn't kill his wife. It was genuinely somebody else. It was the one-armed man, and he was being framed for murder, and nobody believed him, even though it was the one-armed man. And we're all, you know, we are all genuinely sitting at home going, but it was the one-armed man. No. Anyway, you got to think about it like that. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. In fact, my go-to advice to every single person is just don't play their game. Just don't play their game. She says laugh along. She says, you know, this, that, you know, tactics. Ooh, I've got a bit of a hairy face. Tactics. Don't. I mean, it's so. Yes, tactics. Obviously, if you're in a fight, you want tactics. But here's the thing. My tactics are quite self-destructive, but it gets me out of the situation. So I've come to realise that whenever I am in a situation, I feel like I'm in the Truman Show. But I'm in the Truman Show that's shit. Like, I'm in the Truman Show that's like, I'm not getting any good. I'm just a fucking social experiment gone wrong. And that's the sad part about it. But yeah, I do walk into every situation, and when I walk into a pub, when I was a kid and I used to walk into a bar, I used to be like, oh, I'm walking into a bar, great, have a drink, cool. After being a victim of a narcissistic attack, I realised that every single fucker in that pub was in on it. So you're not walking into fucking a pub and everybody in there is strangers. You're the stranger. They all know each other. They are all in on it, and you are fucked. Yeah? And how you survive that, really, it comes down to and I see this happening to so many people. They become so embittered, and they become the monsters that they wanted to fight. Because they start to play by their rules, and that's how they get you. That's how they make you into one of them. And then once you start playing by their rules, you know, then they'll offer you your own little target, you know, and they'll make it. The thing is, they'll target someone who, you know, you'll think, I'm the good guy, he's the bad guy, and you're gonna put on your, and then you're gonna find yourself looking in the mirror, putting on your uniform and your badge, and realizing that you don't stand for anything other than the idea that you're a good guy and that you're chasing the bad guy. And it's like, this isn't cops and robbers, and we're not in the playground anymore. These are real life, real people. And there are people are getting hurt, and there are people with very real power taking out their abuse on real people because they have this absurd notion that they are good people. And I don't like to bring in religion because I'm not very religious. I do believe in life, but not religion. And I've lost my point. Forgotten what I was going to say. Religion's shit anyway. That's basically my point. Religion is shit. But yeah, I mean, what was I going to say? What was I saying? I was saying religion. What was I saying before that though? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Anyway, a narcissist will use those kinds of mind gaps in your head against you. So like, try to keep conversations short with them. Don't belabor them, because eventually, you know, you'll lose your thread, or you'll lose your rag, and chess is all about that. Just don't play their game. Just don't do it. You know. If you do have a narcissistic professor, and I've never met a professor that's not, especially the doctors are the worst. Just walk away, you know. I mean, just try to keep yourself to yourself, which is difficult, but just walk away, you know. They want you to fail. They design the system for you to fail, not to succeed or to improve or to become better. They design the system for you to fail, and you are always going to fail if you play their game. And if you do it their way, you're going to come up worse. So just don't do it. But that's what I don't like is I've been labelled a narcissist. I can accept my narcissism. I've had so many arguments with my mum where she says, you know, I don't take responsibility for my actions, and I say I have to take responsibility for my actions because I'm the only one that can take responsibility for my actions. I'm the only one that can. Like, it makes it even harder because the way that my head works, you know, is all damaged and stuff, and it's difficult to regulate my emotions sometimes, and that's not narcissism. I mean, the other part of it, of narcissism, is I met this guy the other day, and he was bragging about how he had beaten up this guy who liked him and stuff like that. And I said, and I was drunk, and I just went, oh, you're a narcissist then. And he genuinely turned to me. And remember, he's sitting there like this the whole time, bragging about shit. No, I'm an empath. And I felt like turning around to him and going, look, mate, just because you feel emotion, right, doesn't make you an empath. Because your actions prove you're not. You've just sat here for an hour with me, and all you've done is told me about how you've abused this poor man that liked you. That's it. That's all you've done. All you've done is tell me about how you knocked him down, how you beat him up in a fight, how you did this, how you did that, and how you kept on doing it, even though you knew it was wrong. Even though you knew it was wrong, you kept on doing it. And then you even bragged about how the fire in his eyes has gone out. But you sat there and believed, and the thing is, I looked into his eyes when he said that. He was like, he looked at me, he was like, oh, the fire in his eyes has gone out, and he just doesn't feel the same way for me. And he was like, I've done it to him 3 times now, and I hope this Christmas party I'm throwing for him works. I'm like, you don't like him. He's getting married, by the way. He doesn't even like you now. Like, the fire in his life has gone out, clearly, from what you've told me. Like, you were the instigator of all the violence and emotional abuse in that man's life. It's why the fire in his life has gone out. Yet you sit there and implicitly believe that you're an empath, that you empathize with him. You don't empathize with him. You only care about your feelings and making yourself feel better. And he was, obviously, a coke addict. That's another warning sign. Coke addict. But he looked me in the eyes and he genuinely was like, no, I'm an empath. And I was like, you really believe that, don't you? You really believe you're an empath. Like, you really believe that you can feel what another person feels. But I swear if you fucking did, it would break you as a human being. And that is why you sit here like, the bad guy did it. The bad guy, it's the bad guy. Like, and I hate to call them man children, but they are, because they look like grown adults, and they're always big men, walking around like that. But when it comes down to it, you may as well be talking to a baby, and you may as well be talking about Superman and fucking Lex Luthor. And Lex Luthor's the bad guy, Superman's the good guy. And that is the limit of their ability to be able to think about anything other than, of course, the narcissist that's pulling their strings. And they will use these people to then really attack and hurt empaths, and they do it all the time. And the reason why I am upset is because I always feel like the damage in my brain could be cured if somebody actually cared. If there was a genuine fucking empath in the world, just one empath in the world that can actually fucking understand what's going on with me and how I feel in my head, having all of this fucking brain damage, and not a single person out of 7.5 billion people gives a fuck. It blows my mind. It's like, I'm the narcissist. No, I've got brain damage. I have had too many head injuries now. Okay? I've had too many concussions, and it's a medical fucking fact. If you have concussions, it causes brain damage. And the last concussion happened a mere few months ago, and someone smashed a fucking bottle over my head because they didn't like the fact that I was trans. And of course you don't smash bottles over the women's head, do you? Of course you do, really. But you did it to me because you only consider me a man. And that is it. And that is the kind of abuse that I've faced my whole life. It's why I've got all of these fucking scars on my head, right? So I am fed up of people labeling me as a narcissist because of I've got brain damage, when the people that I know I have met in my life who are the ones that are smashing the bottles on my head don't have brain damage. They just made a moral choice that I was the bad guy. And that is it. And the thing is, it gets me so upset and so angry about it. And I believe there's a cure. I believe there's a cure because I know my body and I know my life and I know the earth and I know that there's healing involved in all of this. I know that. I just haven't met anybody that's helping me. I only meet narcissists who want to take more from me, and I'm still so stupid as to believe that then when I meet someone that they actually are there for willing to help me and not just drag me down. And I'm still not fucking, I can't give up on that, you see, because that means giving up on a lot of stuff emotionally, and no empath really wants to give up on that. And the thing about it is, you can't cure someone of an opinion they make, and you can't cure someone of a decision that they make. As soon as a human brain, makes their mind up, that's it. You're fucked. I've decided that, and that's it. End of story. End of debate. And the thing is you really can't change someone's mind. It's because they enjoy it. Like being Superman for the day. They get to beat someone up and then they get to get away with it. They get to shoot someone and then they get to get away with it. They get to rape someone and then they get to get away with it. They love getting away with crimes because they love committing crimes. They love it. It's not an act of defiance. It's not an act of survival. It's not an act of irrationality or just circumstances. And when I look at my life and I just think, oh, for fuck's sake, it's just like a fucking train crash of just one thing going on wrong after the other, after the other, after the other, and just looking at the wreckage of my life and just going, oh, for fuck's sake. Not again. But, you know, they don't have that. They just enjoy getting away with committing crimes. That's all. And then they like destroying other people's lives. In fact, I'm playing a really good game right now called Thimbleweed Park, and this is completely irrelevant. It's on the Nintendo Switch, and I'm not shilling for them, actually. I'm just saying that there's a bit in this game, and it's like you genuinely have to frame someone and put them in prison to get to the next level of the game. That's the fucking game. So while you're doing it as well, you're enjoying it. This is a game. It's supposed to be enjoyable, right? But I'm playing a game where I'm framing someone for murder that he didn't commit. And even in the game, it's like I'm reading the letter where the guy who committed the murder is admitting that he didn't do the murder and that he's just framing the guy for murder. So even my character in the game knew that we were framing this guy for no reason, that he was innocent, but we still did it anyway. To progress the game. Because it was a game. You see? And here's the thing. If you're that character in the narcissist's game, then you're fucked. Because you can't escape that narrative. You can't escape their narrative of you. That's it. You're the scapegoat. You're the one that they want to pin on everything, and you're the one that's going to pay for all of their crimes. So essentially what it comes down to is, how fucking unlucky are you? You know, so yeah, it's frustrating on a one-on-one basis when you meet someone like that. And I give you, the only advice I give to everyone is just walk away. Don't engage and just walk away. Don't play the game. Don't do any of these fucking tactics like grey stoning them or grey walling them or whatever. Don't buy into the narcissistic self-help books. Don't play the game. Don't fucking buy the book. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't. Just don't interact with that kind of level of thinking. It's toxic. That level of thinking is toxic. It creates, you know, toxic people. And it destroys people's lives. And we live now in a world where we build our reputations on how we can destroy someone's life, rather than how we can improve life. Like, rather than saying, oh, there's room for improvement here, we can improve life. It's, hey, I'm going to write a diss track today trying to destroy someone's life. Hey, I'm going to write a hit piece now trying to destroy someone's life. Hey, I'm going to try and create some kind of drama to destroy someone's life. Because essentially human beings are bored and they're scared of being alone. And they're so scared of being alone that they will drag people down into the very pits of hell just so that they'll have company while they destroy your life. And the thing is how you cope with it is the only way you can cope with it is by turning inwards. It's a sad, you know, prospect essentially, but you just have to turn yourself in to yourself, and you sort of have to say, look, I'm kind of giving myself over to my life now. Like, I am handing myself over to myself to look after myself, because I know that I'm the only one that can look after myself. I'm the only one that will look after me, because no one else will look after me. And it's sad. It's sad. And she's got a good following, and you know, I've been not so good with trying to interact with people on YouTube. My only other interaction was with another channel, and I ended up just going, ah! Anyway. So I don't necessarily want to get into discussions and stuff like that, but you know, I doubt anybody's going to watch an hour-long video. But if you did, thanks, and if you didn't, which is probably just me, hi me, you're the only person that's watching. My hair's going grey again, look. Oh god, that scar is quite big, isn't it? Just call me Harry Potter. Where's my glasses? Oh, can I wear your glasses? The Harry Potter glasses.
No.
Fine. Anyway, bye.